sort of like, if you listen to an Adam Buxton podcast where he sort of like, I'll do like an intro just by myself to kind of introduce the podcast, and then the podcast just kind of starts, and you sort of dip in as the conversation's already done. So you're not doing like a Steve Wright kind of like, welcome to the show, give you a round of applause, one of those kind of things, you know.
So you got me warmed up. You just
just kind of like, you know, no, absolutely, you're not going in cold. But how's it going? How was your 2025?
It's not bad. It's getting busier, which is great, because I think the last time I saw you was moaning how quiet it was, and it continued to be quiet. And it was a bit annoying. Well, beyond that, you know, you just get a bit stressed out. And but I knew January would start to build up, and I actually don't blame anyone for wanting to start or not wanting to start a project in December. So I wouldn't want to spend any money and do anything that time of year. So January comes around and things start to happen, and so it's quite positive.
Okay,
Spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung, yeah. It's fairly quiet in the studio here, but that does mean that I can get on with harebrained schemes like recording a podcast, that kind of thing, you know.
Fair play.
Yeah, so you're out in Carluke, is that where you're stationed?
Yeah, pretty much. This is the shed behind me.
Okay.
Or studio, quote marks. And yeah, it's pretty chilled out here. I can go for a walk and a wander. It's just pretty boring. I'll give you that. It's a bit of a commuter town, so it's dead during the day. There's no one about it.
I'll tell me about it after living on the Isle of Lewis for 8 years. But Carluke is just outside Glasgow, but that's kind of handy because you get the rural kind of lifestyle, and then you can just nip in for the big lights of the city.
I mean, I can get into Glasgow in half an hour, maybe Edinburgh in 45.
That's pretty good.
So it's good from that point of view. Yeah, definitely. And the school's really good for the kids and all that.
All that stuff,
and, and Rachel's dad lives out here, and Rachel's from here originally, and then when her mum died, we it was let's move out. We're in that sort of family zone anyway, and we're living in Ibrox, and it was just like, well, let's take this chance and move out.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a leap, but it's been nice. I just moan that it's boring to everybody who wants to listen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's true, but like boring is good in some ways, because I was in Edinburgh, like first time I'd been out in the city on a Saturday night. We were going to a pal's birthday party, but I would just remember the chaos of the streets. It was just like, I was just like, wow, okay. It's just like it just late at night, and I was just like, you know what, this I'll take boring over the kind of random dangerous chaos of the city any day, you know.
That's true.
But
I mean, Edinburgh's so busy, tourist wise. I couldn't believe it last time. I had to drop someone off at Waverley.
Because that was the same. Like, I thought it was like January. It'll be dead. But we woke up like, you know, we were like, oh, where will we go somewhere to eat? And I looked out. We were just staying by the grass market, and it was like thronged with people at about like 10 in the morning on a Sunday. I was like, what the hell? It's January, and
everyone's still queued, like
queues up, and I was
try
like,
to get brunch, and it's a big queue.
People queuing up for that kind of Harry Potter themed store just on Coburn Street.
The kids went there. With Rachel. I was all up for it, but then I saw the queue and I was like, well, no. So I went to the grass market for a pint. And they actually took about 2 hours, so I had a few by the time they got back. But
amazing.
I had to wait that long.
Yeah. You got the best deal. So did you move out to Carluke? Was it largely because of the kids and that kind of like, did you have the kids when you were in Ibrox?
No, not quite. Rachel was pregnant, and Rachel's mum had died. She had like long-term cancer, so kind of knew it was coming, and then we just thought we need to be by Rachel's dad, and I really got on with him. It was great, so it's really nice that way. He's dead into his music and records, and big Hendrix fan and stuff like that. So, and he actually likes KLF, so I've always accused him of being justified and ancient.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Well, he's an old KLF head. Amazing, man. Yeah,
which is crazy. When I found that out, that was amazing. But yeah, it's like, I mean, so sometimes go record shopping with him. It's quite nice.
Yeah,
Um,
fab. So
and
yeah, you have that
yeah,
bonding experience of listening to tunes,
yeah, pretty much.
but
So
you're
it's kind of nice. But yeah, I kind of try and get to Glasgow when I can, or other cities. It'll be the same as you and Lewis before. You know, you just
mhm,
sort of you feel out the loop for a little while. Although it doesn't take me long to get in. I really need a push sometimes.
mhm,
You know, you just get chained to the desk, and then you realise, oh, I should move. And people are talking about this has opened up and this new thing. Have you seen that? And I'm so out of the loop. And you go into
yeah,
Glasgow, and none of the pubs you remember are there.
yeah,
Especially if I'm doing hospitality stuff a lot.
uh-huh.
I should really know my onions, you know.
Go in there. Yeah, because you do sort of that's one of your sort of lines of restaurants and restaurant branding. That seems to be quite heavy in your portfolio.
Yeah, it's just
So
really. I think I've lucked out there the way it worked. Just knowing a couple of people from um, mostly Oban, but they kind of moved into Glasgow and sort of the restaurateurs, and they kind of built up a bit of portfolio and sort of got. And yeah, I
yeah,
started working them maybe about 12 years ago, and they've just kept me on for different projects. And
amazing.
one of them's really quite. He's always on the move, always thinking of new things. He goes on holiday. So he'll go to I don't know Croatia or Mexico or something. He'll come back with a new restaurant concept that he wants doing. So that's always been fun. Although that's sort of not dried up, but he's kind of quit it. I think he's had enough of too many restaurants, too many spilling plates. So that's
Hmm.
quieting down a bit. But anyway, it's
But
quite good.
yeah, but yeah, it is. I suppose it is that kind of way. You do one good job for a restaurant, and then it's kind of just natural that you kind of get tied in with another inquiries from that sort of field in
Yeah,
general.
like it wasn't by design. It was just I think that's it. Someone sees your portfolio and goes, "All right, they do restaurants and fast casual stuff," and off you go. Where yeah, I'll take anything that's going really.
Yeah, and there was places in New York that you've done branding for. So that was that. Was it
Yeah,
just people kind of finding you on the web?
yeah. I think if I traced it back, because I did ask a few questions, because at the time it felt really surreal. Um, but it was through like Pinterest. I'd done some work for a hotel in Oban actually called the Ranald, and I think they just liked the logo. This guy was marketing manager for a hotel out there
Right.
in New
Okay.
York, and he got the sort of the budget and the brief to kind of rebrand. So he was just looking around, and he kind of contacted me.
Yeah.
Um,
Amazing.
so we just started chatting. I sort of showed him the mood board and the thinking behind where this Ranald Hotel came from,
Hmm.
and he was really impressed. But then I didn't hear back from him for like months and months, and then he got himself a new job, and he was working for a restaurant, a Brazilian restaurant, and that needed a rebrand, and that actual job happened in the end. So we went for that, and that was cool. That was really surreal. And then I kind of started to get more and more work in.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty nice seeing your work in New York City.
I
Is
know.
it
I mean, I kind of
sort
got
of
to go out there a
gravitas
few
or kudos?
times.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like really kind of pinch yourself moments because it did feel surreal. And I guess that yeah, that's the kind of the nice bit of design when you actually see it working and alive and on a street.
Hmm.
And I was dying to get the kind of photo of the projection sign with the red brick housing sort of down the side. You know, so it was definitely quintessential New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did beat the drum about that a lot. Got some other work here and there from it as well. And I don't know, you could do like a kind of map of it almost, how it all links together.
Yeah,
Uh,
one feeds into the other, like in terms of the how one job rolls onto the other. Yeah,
yeah, that's sort of it. I do feel like New York or companies tend to go through different designers. If they want a new look, they go to a new designer.
yeah, okay.
Um, where certainly the folk I work with in Scotland mostly, you know, they're
This
almost unless you
they're more
they're
loyal.
there for life.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
seems
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
if
yeah,
they've
yeah.
got a Mull connection or an Oban connection. It seems to just be more loyal. If that's the right word, they seem to go well. We trust him; he's a good guy. Let's pass him the next work, the next work.
Yeah,
Some of the do you
yeah,
find that?
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like I do get that idea that a lot of times especially when I was first starting out, I kind of went like, oh, people will see my portfolio and they'll obviously be just, the phone will be ringing off the hook. But what I realized was sitting there for about like a couple of months without any inquiries, I realized I actually had to go to networking events and go to actual face-to-face meetings. And what you find from that is the fact that once people get on with you and they kind of go, okay, this guy's good, I can get on with this person, and then you kind of go, so let's then see your portfolio. So having that kind of instant rapport with somebody is as important as the actual work itself, because if they just kind of think, yeah, I can get on with this guy, I can work with this guy, then that creates a trust and a loyalty. So you have explained there about your Oban connections. So you're from Mull originally, yeah?
Yeah, Tobermory.
Tobermory, yeah. Which is like, if anybody has watched Balamory, that's where the Tobermory is, like the fictional Balamory is where actually filmed in Tobermory with all those lovely coloured houses, yeah.
Yeah, they're actually doing not a new season, they're rerunning it almost, or re-recording a lot of it. Because I was there in the summer and they'd pretty much taken over half the main street, to
Wow.
everyone's annoyance. But
So, Balamory's
so it's
back.
gonna be.
It's kind
I
of
know, pretty much.
what the world needs now, as it sort of slowly slides into hell, is more Balamory.
As we know,
Yeah,
yeah, just some coloured houses and some brainless stories. Yeah. So I
yeah.
don't really know when that's happening, but I saw some of the same old faces, a wee bit older, obviously. Josie Jump, and I think I would say, is it not Greg Hempel, the other one of the Chewing the Fat guys?
Ford
The other,
Kiernan. Ford
is it that?
Kiernan.
Yeah, him and his wife. I saw them there. Yeah.
Ah, right.
So they're a big part of it, as far as I know. And
Yeah.
but
So
obviously,
yeah, it was. Speaking of boring, life was quite boring on the island
do
growing
you
up.
know it wasn't. I really loved it, and I
Uh-huh.
think I left at the right time. I mean, I was itching to leave, get to the city, and I was like so into like music and dance music, and the whole rave scene was happening.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I was just sort of itching to get away and get to
yeah. Go
college.
clubbing.
Well, not the most academic person, so school was a bit of a struggle. But like I had, good friends, and we got up to adventures and just, disappeared over the hills and just mucked around and I don't know, had fires and then carryouts and sort
Yeah,
of
you make your own
brought a
fun on.
stereo.
You make your own fun
Yeah,
on these
yeah, like you
places.
grab a stereo.
And
Yeah,
especially when you're kind of spoiled for nature and you can go off and, not be disturbed, but like actually find beaches where you can actually crank music up and nobody's going to complain.
yeah. I mean, that was bliss when we got that together. And then eventually, some people started to drive, so that made it opened up a whole new
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can
area of the island, the
poodle around the
inaccessible
island. Yeah,
bits.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and I guess we're all sort of. I suppose it was boredom, but we're all just like, right, let's go and explore.
Do you
And
think,
a lot of us had. Was that
yeah,
sorry?
yeah, do you think that kind of gave, because I also think that boredom and trying to make your own fun, I don't know if that kind of, and you running your own business and kind of getting out there and doing your own thing, I don't know, is there a correlation between that like you have to, coming from an island, that you have to make your own fun, you have to make your own, if you want to do something, you kind of have to do it yourself. So that's kind of almost instilled in you.
Yeah, maybe actually. I mean, I've not really thought about it for myself, but certainly other people. Like I know people have got like a pizza van that they bring down to the beach, and if someone's bought like literally the old public toilets in the main street, and now they've turned them into an ice cream parlor. Sounds horrible, but you wouldn't know.
No.
And there's
Yeah,
people doing coffee, and there's like there's a girl I know and her husband. Like, they've got a horse box and they've changed it into a sauna, and that can
yeah,
be
yeah,
rented to just loads of sort of there is that entrepreneurial thing going on where people
yeah,
just go.
yeah,
So I
absolutely,
think
yeah.
that's I've definitely noticed that where I certainly hear most people I know, they work for another a company and they do the 9 to 5 thing and they probably get paid well enough not to look elsewhere.
Hmm.
Certainly in the islands, the winter's quite bleak and very quiet and there's not a lot of money sloshing around. So it's like, but I think it gives that, makes them think and gets people thinking, well, we'll need to do something this summer when we launch, when the tourists arrive, or do something for the locals. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right with that kind of get up and go DIY.
Yeah, because speaking from like being on the Isle of Lewis, not only like I think the general island really backs a local business when there's something new opens up, because it's like everybody's delighted. Any sort of new business or a cafe or as you said
Yeah.
like that, there was like a sauna, a similar kind of thing opened up. Or my pal Norma actually ran it, and but there's just general enthusiasm for everybody to make it work. So the promotion is
Mhm.
quite easy because everybody is talking about it, and
Yeah, true.
I think it's a good if you do have an entrepreneurial spirit and want to set something up on an island like that. I think it's the wheels get greased a little bit more in terms of because if you set up say a cafe in the city, you're just one of thousands, Whereas then
Yeah,
if
I
you set
suppose
up
that's true.
people are excited just to have a whole new menu to choose from, because there's few and far between on the island.
That's true.
For choice. So yeah, it does create quite an entrepreneurial kind of environment. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so what we'll do, Ewan, sort of we'll come up. Are you familiar with the euphemism to blow smoke up your arse?
I am. I read the kind of agenda and I thought, oh, this will be the fun bit.
I actually thought because I was thinking of like I didn't know if that was actually Scottish, but I think it's like because the first time I heard it was in Scotland. It was like I
Really?
remember being on a course and one of the guys said to me like there's this lecturer and he was like very very cold and very kind of matter of fact. And he praised me about like one of the projects, and he was like, one of my classmates go to me, "Aye, that's good, but because he's not the kind of type that's blow smoke up your ass." And I was just like, first time I heard it, and I was like, "Well, I hope
I
he's not the type that
Yeah.
goes around blowing smoke up people's asses."
I know. I think the first time I heard it, I took it literally. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it's actually I was researching the etymology of it, and there was
All
some
right. Okay.
ancient medieval. It was a literal thing. There was some ancient medieval thing where to revive a
All
person, they
right.
would actually try and like put some sort of like smoke up their back passage.
Wow. Like their soul has escaped out their arse. I
Yeah,
think I've
yeah,
heard
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, I'd be
So
well wrong here, but it's like Tai Chi. You try not to pass wind, so that's part of your energy.
your
That's
chi
part of your
is
chi.
escaping. No.
Exactly. Hold your chi in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have to watch that after I have a very lentil-based meal. My
True. Yeah.
chi will start escaping. Um, wow. So like, so basically, to blow smoke up your arse is to lightly massage your ego. So let me do that. Let me
Oh,
maybe not blow
great. I'm
smoke
game for
up your
that.
maybe not blow smoke up your arse, but maybe to lightly waft some Febreze across your areola.
Lovely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna basically what that means
Oh, here we go.
is we're gonna have a look at your. I'm going to talk about sort of the top three of my favorite projects of yours. Going well. Number three, Crochet Tree, which you got a silver award for the Scottish Design Awards for this, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. Um,
So the Crochet Tree, who is that, and what did they do?
um, so they make patterns at the time anyway. They made sort of patterns for crochet creations, like mostly like dolls and other sort of bits of clothing for dolls, all sort of mini um, sort of things. But they were also going to get into doing their own yarn, and that was going to be a big part. So they kind of obviously got people on their website looking for these patterns, and they also did not courses exactly, but there's a few kind of like YouTube tutorials about how to do it and how to get into it and all this sort of thing. Yeah, when I looked at it, I thought it was really twee, like it's all like dolls and kind of knitted twee things. That's really
Uh,
offensive, but that like my gran would make. The more I got into it, the more I realized it's more about the people that are doing it and the almost the process and the kind of the mindfulness and there's quite a spirituality to people that get into it, and they do it. In that picture there, that's this woman walking along crocheting a really long scarf and walking along the main street, not paying any attention to what's going on, sort of thing. So then I was just trying to think, well, rather than pushing these creations that they do, because you can do anything, I suppose, I'll just push the idea of the people and their happy place and this mindful thing. And they had a kind of section on mindfulness on their website, and I think that was something they wanted to. Well, it was something they wanted to expand on and make sort of good into. And I think at the time, there was a few sort of famous people starting to do it as well. So it was getting that whole TikTok traction sort of.
Jumping on
the
trends.
Was it after? I think it was after a couple of years or a year or so after lockdown as well. So I think people were kind of all about mindfulness and just trying to relax and unplug and not look at their screens and not scroll and all that sort of stuff. So that was the sort of idea. Getting yourself a cup of tea, sitting on your sofa. I mean, this woman, she's in space, floating around, turning away. So that was just sort of like, they were just, I guess that was just sort of more the imagination of where they were at while they were doing it. They're not thinking about, I don't know, stressful things, work, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Escapism, really.
Yeah, no, you nailed the brief perfectly. I do get that, because even the images themselves, that two color, and it's very calming images and very subtle animation. So the whole thing has a generally quite relaxing nature. So you collaborated with an illustrator for the visuals here, yeah?
Yeah, I did. I came up with the concepts. The kind of general idea, someone floating in space. First of all, I think the first one was a kind of, because they're doing a delivery service, so I imagined like the postman rolling a huge ball of yarn up the road, up the stairs to your house, sort of thing, your flat, whatever. And I think I sketched that out myself just to pitch the idea.
Yeah.
And then I kind of did a few others, and then so we pitched the idea, and then I got kind of costs off of Fruzy, she's called. She's Hungarian originally, but she's been living in Glasgow a long time.
All right, okay.
I think she went to art school here. Yeah, I think she went to art school here. She might have moved to France now. Actually, I can't quite remember, but
okay.
I see her work occasionally. She kind of works with a few other dezyners. So
Fifoldi with dots is the. Is it Fifoldi with dots? Is what her brand name is? Yeah. Fruzinia.
Frizifold. That's it. Frizifold.
Yeah.
So yeah, she kind of really helped it come to life. So, and that was one of the first proper times I'd used an external illustrator, because I just felt that they could do it 1,000 times better than I could.
Yeah, of course.
But they could do what I like. So sort of art directing for once, which was kind of nice. Right, and then the animation, I did that myself, but I kept it simple and just tried not to overdo it.
Yeah, I know.
It get a bit annoying sometimes on websites if stuff's bouncing around all over the place. So I was just trying to make it as calming as the thought. Yeah, that was really
I love it, man. The little dogtail, a little bit of steam. Yeah, it's just like, as I said, it's like you would betray that sort of like mindfulness, calming nature if it's like, if it's all popping and fizzing, but it just adds and brings the illustrations to life. That's really nice. So in terms of your art directing, so was she like, when you're in the process, was she coming up with any ideas, or was she largely kind of taking what you had sketched out and polishing them up?
Yeah, well, see the one there, the mother and the daughter. Like I think that was maybe like about the fifth illustration we'd sort of done. So she was off and running by that time. I was all about using these big yarns of wool, like for oversized, and sitting on them like their sofas or hugging them or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, she brought in. I mean, the little girl's perfect, and the look in the mum's face, looking down at her and stuff. And she brought in the dolly and the wooden blocks, and just sort of brought that to life. I mean, she had a really cool style. It's like that. So I referenced some of the stuff she'd done before, and a few others. So just sort of built up a mood board, and she'd do a sketch, And then at that stage, the sketch stage, I would sort of say, "Oh, can we try this and try that?" And then she'd give me a vector version. It was sort of almost finished. And yeah, I would just sort of do all the conversion into PNGs, TIFFs, all the stuff, so the client can use them when they want,
Yeah,
and
of
I can
course.
use them when I'm building out stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty good. I think
yeah,
the client got involved a few times because they were trying to sort of cover the bases. You know, we had the kind of core one was the girl on the big yarn sofa. It's actually called a skein. I found that out as well. A skein
right.
of yarn.
Skyne, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't know that before. But so that was the kind of core one, and then from there, tried to develop it. And I was like, well, we probably need a male figure as well, just so it's not too feminine. Uh, so we got him sitting lying on the sofa watching the telly. Same idea, but he's eating popcorn where she's got a cup of tea. And then I was thinking of older, got sort of a grandma sort of in there, and then a family couple, postman, and then they've got this dog in the
yeah,
studio
yeah,
anyway. So I wanted to sort of make that part of it as well, just sort of mischievous sort of thing. And
yeah. Great ideas, man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I
I,
think I
I
had a big list of a few, but they were the ones that kind of got commissioned anyway, kind of the
just
top
on the
set.
one of the practical things. Then you mentioned about kind of getting the illustrators costing. Did you sort of just almost when you were presented to the client, when the discussion of hiring an illustrator come into it, did you sort of say, did it come under your sort of branding cost, or did you sort of say, well, if you pay this extra fee for the illustrator, we can get it done by Illustrator? How did you handle
Yeah,
selling it to the
I did.
client?
Yeah, because it is tricky. Like, what do you do? Chicken and egg sort of thing. I had in the budget. I sort of left um, a few grand aside for illustration and whatever that would be, me or them or someone completely different. And I had a wee caveat saying, based on, things that are maybe take a wee bit more time, or I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but just like to get any external illustrator, this is roughly the cost you might need. Um, and I'd worked with her before, so I knew her kind of day rate or per illustration rate.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of figured that out and just did almost kind of
So it was
back of
up.
the fag packet
Yeah,
sort of stuff,
yeah.
but then put it
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it
yeah,
put it
yeah.
on writing and sent it over. But I just try to say, like, and it felt I kind of second guessed this one because I kind of felt was going to need illustrations to sort of explain what they did, and I did feel my style wasn't going to work. I mean, I've got illustrations that I do myself, but are quite messy.
Yeah.
It's quite scrappy, and it's good for some things, but for this, I think I want a wee bit more sharper and polished. Um, and she
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
person that so I also pulled together a couple of mood boards as well of different illustration styles, and I had her in mind, so I had a lot of stuff that she did at the time, um, as well. And I think there was what's the oat brand? The girl on the skateboard, and glad there was that sort of stuff around a lot, and there was a
Hmm.
few so I sort of referenced that too, and a few other things. Um, and when I went to pitch the sort of, I had like three concepts. One was had her, or I did my own illustrations just to get it kicked off and
Yeah,
not kind of waste any of their money slash my money
yeah.
before they agreed to it. But turned out to be the favourite one. And after that, I know I might. Do you know what? I think I got one illustration designed by her,
Yeah.
and I used that to bits in the presentation. Plus, I kind of added a few other bits that I'd done myself, but kind of copied her work really.
Hmm.
Um, so I wouldn't have been comfortable using it properly. And then once they were happy with it, it was like great, and then agreed to the budget. So it was actually plain sailing in that respect, and it's not always like that, that's for sure.
Yeah, of
But
course.
someone sees it and then they maybe they don't they don't realize they have to pay extra for it or something. So I did mention it from the start. So hopefully, I don't think
Yeah,
it was
but
a shock to them, but they wowed it, they loved it. So that was really
amazing.
positive. They're really excited about it. So we didn't look back in that respect, and they didn't seem to moan too much about paying extra, or didn't feel it was extra. I think they saw the value in it, and yeah, we expanded it further than than I thought as well with adding new parts, and it's like such a fundamental part of the branding.
Yeah, amazing, man. So yeah, that's good. I quite like the way you have factored that in terms of like upfront. You know, you kind of allowed some room in your costings to kind of get that in there. So yeah, that's my buzzer. Somebody wants to get in.
Great.
Yeah, it's great. Let's continue on, and hopefully the buzzer.
No,
Or else I'm gonna have to pause and run out and answer that. It's normally like
whatever. Yeah, if you have to, no worries.
normally some worky trying to get in. Nobody visits me in here. This is my own domain. Second one I want to talk about, and it kind of relates back to, you know, obviously Isle of Mull, and it relates back to your place, your Tobermory, the land of the Balamory. So yeah, this is cracking work, man. I just really love I suppose it kind of also leads on about, you were talking about how your illustrations are messy. So this is a soap packaging project for Isle of Mull Soap Company in Tobermory. Yeah, you want to talk me through this one?
So it's a couple called Stuart and Sophie, and they've been, well, I knew Stuart since school. He was a year below me, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I think about a good 10 odd years ago, they set up their Isle of Mull Soap Company. And they've been doing really well. Got a shop down in the main street, and it's a great wee tourist gift to have. But I always thought like the branding was nice and colourful and fun, but it didn't really say Mull to me. But I kept that to myself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I knew him quite well. And I think about a good 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer, I sort of chinned about doing a rebrand, and just to mention, because I'd be gutted if I missed it. You know, if you decided to change it, or they decided to change it, and I wasn't part of the conversation.
So you laid down a marker and stuck your neck
Oh,
out.
that was a long time ago. But it was up on holiday a few years ago, and he phoned me up and said, "Come to the shop," and he wants to talk about rebranding and all that. And I'm on holiday, but it's like, all right, see you later, kids. And I ran down to town and met up with him, and I kind of had it in my head, thought it would be a good idea. I didn't know what it would look like, but I just sort of said, because to blow smoke up their arse, their stuff was beautiful, colourful, and bright. But it had just patterns that didn't really say anything. Not too much about the fragrance, and definitely nothing about the island. So that was the sort of thinking. I just wanted to kind of use little close-ups of the island. I mean, so that illustration is based on all the creels and the nets and the floats and the buoys you find on the fisherman's pier. And it's a bit odd because I guess it doesn't smell that fresh along there. But
looks good though. It's nice colour palette though.
Yeah. But that was
it definitely doesn't smell of lemongrass and ginger, as it.
Afraid not.
No, but yeah.
Yeah. I know. Got crab claw and fish head.
Yeah, there's such a, how many, like there's obviously different, there's a sort of different pattern and different color scheme for each product. So how many products and how many illustrations did you end up doing?
God. Let's think, because there was so many soaps and so many like wax melts and a few other things. I think altogether about 120 different illustrations.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was
the
one of those things.
illustrations are quite simple enough in nature, but they are quite different.
So I did get into a run of it. So that sort of one, I find that kind of design style or illustration style really natural. That's how I see, to me in a weird way, that's how I see the hills and the sea, just geometric shapes and layers and stuff like that.
It down. How a graphic designers views the landscape.
Exactly.
In blocks of colour, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So sort of did that, had that sort of style going on, and then there was a kind of more rougher mixed media sort of style. And before even I got to this, I did have one that was more painted and used more natural brushes, and but I'm glad they didn't go that way, because that would have been, they took 10 times as long to do as these sort of ones.
Yeah.
And it did turn out like it. So the first few were a bit slow. I maybe did like a pitch of 10 or a pitch of maybe even 5, and sort of went more to the style. And then I just sort of got kind of free reign to just go around, take photos, look close-ups. Like the shops are so colourful, sort of use them, and hopefully, like tourists will see that and go, it's like a reminder as well, a little
Yeah,
postcard,
amazing. Yeah,
and they end up making postcards. Funny enough.
yeah.
So, and it was
Amazing.
kind of So for each sort of fragrance, they sort of said a bit about where they thought it might be. Like, for instance, some of them are easier. Like Mull Heather, there's a sort of spot on the way between Salon and Tobermory
Yeah,
that during the right time of year is covered in heather and the hills are all purple. So, and I can
yeah.
remember that as well. And it's not hard to find a photo online, so I did that. But some of them are just going around and taking little close-up shots and just try to abstract it a bit as well.
Yeah, totally,
And
man.
it made me really look.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I mean, you are well versed in the subject of the Isle of Mull, so you knew places to look. But as you say, there probably like you looked a little bit harder at your kind of hometown when you went back there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I would have come up with this concept if I didn't live there.
Yeah,
I'd
sure.
like to think I would, but you never know. Maybe I would have done something totally different. So
No,
it just became like each soap has its own wee story, and even on the back it says there's a wee line saying where it was taken or
Yeah,
where it's
yeah, yeah,
from.
yeah.
Like, see that was this camping in
Fitness,
Fijian.
Fiji.
It's like the Ross of Mulls. It's sort of near Iona, sort of down that coast. But then also bringing in sort of the whole camping aspect and that big orange tent, and then the big orange boy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I guess this
Speaking of Donald
explains the
Trump,
kind of yeah, exactly.
big orange boy.
Yeah,
But no, I do love that how it takes it away. Like there is actually location specific places behind these illustration and takes it away from that just like generic pattern that looks quite nice,
yeah,
so there is an actual you're constantly referencing it back to the Isle of Mull the whole time. So that just gives it such a lovely weight and a lovely story behind for people purchasing as well. You kind of take that little bit of the Isle of Mull back home with you. um
yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
that.
Hopefully they recognise it and take a it's
Yeah,
like a postcard, but yeah,
yeah. Actually, and were
yeah. And the
you on?
shop looks great.
And how were you on the iPad doing the illustrations, or are you in Illustrator the whole time, or how did you do those?
Mostly Illustrator, I would say. I think basically just because of as I say, when I was sort of pitching the idea, I had a few different sort of illustration design styles,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and one of them was more Photoshop based. I would scan in different textures and paint,
yeah, yeah.
sort of colors and watercolor kind of things. Plus, I got a few quite nice brushes in Photoshop, so I was using them.
Uh-huh.
But it was a big heavy file, and it was going to be so when you're laying it out and putting it into the
Yeah,
actual packages, it was going to be gigs of stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not that I was averse to doing it if that was the way to go and they were happy with that, because I always think, well, they're going to have to stand in the shop looking at it all day, so they have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I get to run away or just switch off.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm just interested. So this is my sort of number one pick. Mille Hoc, is it French?
Yeah, they all say Milioc.
Milioc. Okay. So beautiful piece of a French whiskey.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I'm just looking. We're just running through the video here, which isn't great for the audio if people are on the audio of this podcast. But yeah. So whereabouts in France is this then?
It's near a place called Sorbets, and to get there you got to fly to Bordeaux, and then drive like 3.5 no yeah maybe 3 to 2.5 hours into the sort of into the interior, sort of south east, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, that was all a thrill. Quite enjoyed traveling that way. And Bordeaux is cracking. Recommend anyone want to go there. It's
Well,
kind of
yeah.
like Paris, but not too dodgy.
Too touchy. Okay, yeah, yeah.
That's basically how I describe it. It just felt quite safe, and it wasn't crazy touristy either. It was like
Okay.
quite a lot of locals, and yeah, it just felt So I really loved it. But yeah, and then traveling out there to this chateau, and I remember Sorbets because that's where D'Artagnan's from in the Muskehounds.
Oh yes, because well, the bingo wheel of wisdom is coming up, and there's a few questions about '90s cartoon characters. So you might, yeah. So you're already leading onto this theme, yeah. No, of
Oh, great.
course, D'Artagnan and the. I was going to sing the very annoying theme tune, but I think people would switch off if I did that. But anyway,
One for all, yeah.
yeah.
That was kind of going around my head. So they told me it wasn't far away from there, and yeah, it's called Chateau Le Labad. I
Okay.
don't quite know what that means, but they do Armagnac and have done for nearly a century, if not longer. But they've only owned it for about 70 years. Their grandfather owns it, and then he's third generation. There's three brothers, and he's sort of more in control of the sort of Armagnac and the production of the
Yeah.
kind of cool, just making it and promoting it. And I think they really wanted to do a whiskey. And yeah, I mean, I think they got hold of me through a couple other projects that I'd done for gin and a few others they mentioned anyway. But I think it's just quite lucky that we got talking. And
Yeah.
funny, like you were saying, like it was about getting on. Like I really got on with Denise, he's called, and he's the guy that sort of runs it, and yeah, he's a really nice, fun, good laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just hit off with him. I thought, oh, well, that's why I say it. He might say different. I liked
Yeah.
him anyway, and he gave me the work. And so,
Amazing, man. So the
and I went,
final, yeah. I'm kind of skipping ahead to the final concept,
no,
but
no, don't worry.
but yeah, I just so you went out to meet them in terms of like getting the full brief and getting a feel for the
Yeah,
place,
well,
and
I did
then
a bit of the,
coming back and then sending them the concepts.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I did sort of a wee, what would you call it?
A
A kind of
recce.
yeah. Well, I sent him my costs roughly. In fact, I mean, in my head, I'm on the phone chatting to him, and you try to work out a fair cost, but then it just becomes bigger and bigger. The job just became bigger and bigger, and so I sent him some rough costs plus a kind of a deck just about me and some kind of some character references almost, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Document I've got. Just a bit about my process, and then you sort of eventually just because you talked to other people and they got back saying, yeah, let's go. So I was really keen to travel out there. I just any excuse really, and I'd done a few jobs where I'd travelled and I'd taken the hit on the cost and the travel and the. I just thought that's what I should do, but this time I was like, right, no, I think they should pay me to go out and see them,
Yeah.
and I kind of can't believe it, but they were happy to do that.
Wow.
And sort of so they should be. I think that would be my advice from the other times that I hadn't charged because you're out there away from home, spending money, restaurants and traveling, and
Yeah. Ultimately, it's for their gain,
Yeah, although it does feel like you're getting a free holiday to south of France.
Well, you can't complain about that either.
Yeah. Well, I
Might as
made
well.
sure that. Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
part of the
stayed.
research is to drink the local kind of it's part.
That's what I felt.
Yeah, it's
And I
research.
think it was so useful. I mean, I spent an extra maybe 3 days in Bordeaux over the weekend just to wander around myself and just sort of think and sketch and muck around and sample nice wine and bread, rice and cheese. And I went to the City de Van, which is like a giant wine museum.
Wow.
I think it's like the wine museum in probably the world, I'm going to say, but definitely France. Oh, it's like a library, and then it's also like a kind of, a granary, what would you call it with a store? They keep all the grape varieties and seeds, and they've got a big, it's kind of like,
The
it's sort of like a
seeditarium.
Yes, like it. That's what it's
Okay.
called.
I'm workshopping some titles.
Yeah, no, that's what we call it. So I had all
The
that, and then it's got a really kind of immersive museum and all this sort of stuff.
Grainarium.
Grainarium, yeah,
Okay.
granary.
Yeah. But no, that is class that you can kind of go in and get a sense of like Yeah, even from your sketches and doodles, I'm sure like the sort of the shapes of the grains and all that kind of like coming into play.
Yeah, there's loads of ideas, but yeah, I think the picture you can see there, that's called a column still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of unique to or brandy and cognac and armagnac production, and that's how they're going to produce the whiskey in this column still, which is different to Scottish and maybe American stills, like kind of those pot stills. And they have this sort of ribbed sides sort of thing, or ribbed all
Okay.
around.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
each one's, I think it's like a chamber or a section where the the vapors go in and then fall back down, and that's the kind of process. Sort of wanted to bring that into the bottle design. That's what you see down the side.
Nice, yeah. Lovely.
Yeah, I guess the other part was just the bit was sort of etched on my brain was the those those sort of lines traveling through France in that kind of wine country play. Everything's got just rows and rows of vineyards, and it's all these really striking kind of perfect rows and lines. Yeah, just furrows and divots, or what are we going to call them? Yeah, it was almost like, when you close your eyes, I could still see them. So
Yeah,
when I came
amazing.
home, I was sort of stuck in my head. Funnily enough, when came home, was renovating my house a wee bit, and I had to grout the floor to put tiles down. And I don't know if you see the grout line, sort of
Yeah.
it's ribbed or it's got teeth in it. So I was like, 4 years, I was like daydreaming, squidging
Yeah.
masonry stuff around on the floor, and I was just
Yeah.
making these sort of shapes, this kind of comb claw thing. And I was like, try and think about that. That could be something I could bring in.
Uh-huh. So the final actual graphic then is based around this golden field that they have.
Yeah,
So the
yeah. The thinking
significance of
about
that.
that is, yeah, the significance, I guess, is so they're growing corn and making whiskey in Armagnac country, where every other field is either designed for wine or cognac or Armagnac, whatever. But they're doing whiskey, but with grain. So it's like kind of this it sort of sticks out a wee bit, and it certainly will does in the summer or harvest. There's going to have this golden field beside all these dark green fields, with different grape varieties, and that was sort of thinking there that it was sort of going to stand out. And the other sort of element is that it's the accent on the O as well,
Mm.
the shape of the field. So it's
Ah,
just
yeah,
that
yeah,
little
yeah.
link to
Little link to the sort of the accent.
to the word mark. And I suppose the lines in that shape are going vertical, where all the others are either going horizontal or
Yeah,
up and down rather than left to right. So I think so. That was, I guess, they're going a different direction. That was the sort of the thinking.
Yeah, no,
Whether
that.
anyone will get that or ask any questions, it
Yeah,
kind of
no,
didn't
it's
matter. So,
yeah, I sometimes think I'm kind of doing this bit for other designers, not the general anybody in the general public. I'm doing this bit so when
yeah,
people read
maybe.
about that, the rationale, they can get excited. But yeah, but
Yeah,
no,
pretty much. I think
that's so cool, man. I
designers
just love
delight.
it. I love it how everything connects up. That lines from the still to the lines of the connecting up to the word mark, man. Yeah, so tight. It's great, fab. So that's as much smoke that I'm going to blow up your backside,
I
Ewan. So
enjoyed that.
or
Thank you.
a little squirt of Febreze on your nether regions. So we're going to do quick fire questions. I don't. This is the bingo wheel of wisdom, which I was actually panicking just before we came on. It's meant to
Look at
light
that.
up. So
Oh, see that?
oh, first ball has come
Makes a good
out.
noise.
Let me.
Well, that could be my ball.
Yeah, well,
No.
it's meant to light up.
A bit of light. Oh, is it kinetic?
It's just some coloured light balls in the middle. £9.50 from
Oh, well spent.
the local Strachan's, which is the sort of local kind of every village kind of has one. It's the sort of place where it has like DIY and deli counter and like home goods and everything. You can go in and get a pint of milk and a head strimmer and some cold cuts, just all of it, and a bingo wheel for a creative podcast. So,
wow. So did you see that and then decide you should do a podcast? Which
I'm
came
not.
first?
Yeah, no, I don't want to go into a deep dive of how my creative process worked there. Yeah. uh, I used to do like a disco bingo, which was we used to do it for Oxfam. So we had like 90 records, like all these singles that we pulled out of Oxfam music. So totally random. Like I would number them 1 to 90. What would happen is I'd spin the wheel, and if a number came out, I would just play that record, and we'd kind of let the bingo wheel kind of decide what record was played. But people would play along. Every time a number would come out, they would take it. So it was like a very slow game of bingo.
Of
So
course.
yeah, so it was great. You could just sit there with your bingo card, have pints, listen to like totally random music. You'd have like some the fall B side, and then you'd have like Pavarotti or something like. It was an
Yeah, I
amazing
was going to
night.
say it must be random.
Yeah, totally random. Yeah, but
But
yeah,
you
it was
have
a
the
good night.
fall. That would be stuff.
So
Yeah,
so
cool.
I do have previous with bingo wheels. So yeah, right. I have a few numbers come out already. So let's get on the rapid fire bingo wheel of wisdom. 73. 73, 73. Time travel. Would you go to the past or future?
Wow.
I mean,
Oh,
I
such a.
was hoping.
I mean, oh, sorry, I should quick fire. Yeah, I suppose it. Yeah, past.
Past. To the past, yeah. Any specific point in the past?
Or like I think sort of I don't know Neolithic.
I would have
There
gone
you go.
anytime before Trump was elected. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
um,
that's what's worrying me about the future. I would normally say future, but now I'm thinking it's the best not
so
to know.
28. Music or podcasts while working?
Definitely,
Yeah,
I'm afraid I can't kind of concentrate when I'm working and I'm listening to people talk. End up like using their what they're
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I'll type it in somehow, or it'll just anyway, it'll take me on too much of a tangent.
Yeah,
But I do
you're
miss it.
you're a big Mixcloud man like myself, so you get some DJ mixes on the go.
Yeah, pretty much. And then yeah, that I'll if I hear any good stuff, I'll be having that. Please, I'll
Yeah,
be shazamming it, or and I'll
I,
probably
I
absorb it into my own collection.
I do have a bit of a mix. I get what you're saying. If I'm sort of emailing or writing stuff up, there's no way I can listen to a podcast because I'm not taking it in. But then if I'm kind of getting into
Yeah,
the zone with a project, and if it's something I'm actually designing, then I can kind of like it's actually quite nice because sometimes you're stuck here by yourself so long. It's actually quite nice to
yeah,
tune into
same.
somebody's conversational podcast and it feels as though you're joining in. Very, very quite sad that you have like
Yeah,
some
no, definitely,
proxy
definitely.
conversations, a proxy social life. So it's three.
Uh,
What's three?
oh,
Dark mode or light mode?
think light mode. Although, yeah, light mode.
Uh, grid or
I
no
was thinking,
grid? I'm
let's
making
break the
too
grid,
much noise
but
with the wheel.
use a grid and break it, I guess.
Use the grid. Uh, aliens, real or fake?
Oh, they gotta be real somewhere.
I
It's
mean,
gotta be.
there's an actual logical argument that there has to be aliens.
Yeah,
In terms
I
of
know exactly. What terms an alien though? Like surely some sort of microbe would be in a different planet system would be. Surely that's an alien.
surely that's an
I don't
alien,
know.
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
know. Yeah, does it have to have green skin and tentacles? Yeah.
Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, snog, marry, avoid.
Photoshop. So
So
Illustrator's probably my favorite. So I'll marry
marry Illustrator,
Illustrator.
snog Photoshop, avoid InDesign.
Can't avoid InDesign. It's just like
Yeah, I,
yeah.
I, I, I have an awful soft spot for InDesign. I think out of the three for me, It's InDesign is sort of like, it feels a little bit like you're doing you Photoshop and Illustrator are the real kind of fun creative ones, and then InDesign's a little bit more like you have to file the tax return and send it. You have to actually get you have to actually get things together. So there is a little bit of a buzzkill about InDesign where you're actually kind of layout and process and stuff. It's a little bit like doing your homework.
That's it.
Or
what was it, like snog, marry, divorce? Divorce lawyer is the
yeah.
Design.
Cool.
Because you get caught snogging shop.
Are you taking any questions? There's no sort of definitive end to this. It's just basically when we get bored.
Till it get cancelled.
Till you say something wildly inappropriate, and then I have to disassociate myself from you entirely. Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert. Why not? I think
just about extrovert, yeah.
I'm on the cusp, like whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't think you'd would be able to enjoy this kind of like solo lifestyle if you weren't some way introverted. But yeah,
I think I like my own company. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I certainly look forward to getting out and meeting people and just mucking around, I guess. And I don't know. Yeah, so who knows?
Okay,
someone else can answer that.
48. Can you name 4 cities in Ireland?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. It wasn't a yes or no question, but I like how you avoided Dublin. Naming the actual 4 cities by just saying, yes, I can.
I'll go on. Dublin, Sligo, Cork. Let's see, Donegal. No, Donegal's a state. It's county, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no Donegal city.
Derry.
Ooh, controversial.
What?
Yeah, okay.
I know, is that Northern Ireland? I'm not getting. This is where you're going to get me kicked out.
No, it's Derry. No, I actually, I haven't stated it's the island of Ireland, so that's fine.
I love Belfast. I love Belfast too. Been there a few times.
Derry, yeah, cool. Belfast. Well done.
Was that 4? Yes.
Yeah, it was 4. Okay, I'm bored now. I think we've.
Good.
We were actually kind of skirting along to almost cancel territory there, invoking Irish politics.
I know.
Did you have a look?
So those ones out. So I was going to ask: are those numbers out the game now? Is that how that works, or do you pop them back in the?
Yeah, well, yeah. But my plan is for the no repeat guarantee that I'm going to just kind of keep the bingo wheel and keep turning it for the episodes, so that I won't be asking the same questions. So thankfully, you've took the grenade for everybody else who's going to have to name 4 cities in Ireland. Right. So we're moving on to the final section of the show. We're coming up to we're almost past the hour that I promised of your time, but yeah, so we're going to slightly run over. See how far we get with this one. You're not no other pushing engagements, no.
No, my daughter's going to be home from school about half an hour now. We're all good. Thanks.
Cool. We
she
can
comes bashing in. So
yeah, sure. We're going to move on to the heavy dessert menu. Ewan, have you had a look at the heavy dessert menu?
Yeah, I like the look of the.
No, wait.
Wait a minute, what have I got?
The cheese board. So right, this is where I've given you beforehand a list of topics about the industry to discuss. So one on the menu is how to price your work. Then you've got a sample of the AI elephant in the room, the red flags of a nightmare client, specialist versus generalist, self-promotion without the ick, avoiding burnout, your design and how to sell it, and things they never tell you about in design courses. Now, so you can take your pick from the menu there.
I mean, I don't think I know enough about AI to really have. I mean, I'm not keen on it. I think that's about all I can say. But I've had my head in the sand on that one.
But but ignorant
How to
conversations
charge?
are good. voicing your
Yeah,
ignorant
yeah. Well,
concerns are also welcome. Go on.
fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
But
How to price your work is quite a good one, I guess, for other people to know.
yeah,
And I want to ask every other designer that for sure.
yeah, I think
Tell
everybody
me.
has a exactly. I think everybody has a different way about it. So like one of the things is to think about is what mistakes were you making early on with pricing and kind of how have you fixed that?
Yeah, I think definitely probably charging too little, not
Yeah,
enough. It sort of, it's almost like it was like getting your band getting a gig and playing for free because you love playing, sort of things. This sort of idea that you shouldn't get millions of pounds for doing something you love. Almost, there's a
yeah.
guilt there, which is nonsense. But I think everyone always asks, what's your hourly rate, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's got to be day rate or half day or however long a project takes. You've got to kind of say, well, how long do you allow me to work on it? And I think as you get older, I guess you get better and quicker. So
Hmm.
that can't be a reason to kind of,
Punish yourself.
just because you can do. Yeah, there's these sort of things as well.
Then becomes about value, like and value based pricing is more kind of what I would go for these days in
Yeah,
terms of is would you
yeah.
would
There's
you
no one
still
method, I guess.
so, sort of what I do is like and I don't know if you do this, but in terms of like I will come up with largely kind of work out how much time it's going to take, but then kind of figure out like one of the things is that if you're doing branding or a logo design, that kind of that really good clever idea that kind of makes the whole thing work, that could come together quite quickly. And even when I've been talking to
Yeah,
clients, so I'm kind of so long and so experienced at it now, even when I'm talking to clients, ideas, sometimes I'll start to sketch it even as they're talking, and that will actually end up being kind of one of the things. So it's like it's sort of I've been in this game 20 years, so it's taken me 20 years to come up with that idea in 5 minutes. So
yeah.
therefore pricing by like the time that's irrelevant. But what I sometimes do is like I'll kind of get a look at kind of how much is this idea worth to them, and how much is a new brand or new logo, or I do campaign designs, or how much like if they're doing a brochure, like where is this going to go? Is this are they like how many eyeballs are going to see this thing, and therefore work your way back in terms of like trying to figure out how much money they're going to make or how much advertising, and try and figure out the value of like a really good design will give to that, and sort of work your way back. But sometimes on the invoice though, I'll kind of almost break it down into time, even though I know kind of
Yeah,
sometimes just because I think from a client point of view, they can kind of understand it a bit more if they're sort of paying for your days rather than paying for sort of like, oh, here's some nebulous is that you're
I
going
know.
to
Yeah, you
pay
do.
me for.
I think you do owe it to them to sort of break it down. And someone said to me a long time ago about making it a bit like the bill you get from the garage. You put your car in, you're like, Jesus, that much? You're kidding. But then you look at it, you go, well, this part costs this, that needed changed, oils that, plus your labour, then VAT, and you go, oh, okay, you're right, it is that much, and you got to pay it, sort of thing. But most people I work with, the branding and the design, the packaging, whatever it is the funnest bit of their day.
Yeah.
They're quite happy to kind of like they quite, and I guess that puts you into the red flag thing. If they don't really value it, that is a bit of a red flag. I think if they could have got AI to do it, or they could have got someone
Yeah.
cheap to do it, or chucked it on Fiverr or whatever it is, they don't really care and they don't value it, and maybe the business will be dead in 6 months because they didn't invest in it themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Where
that
design is an investment, and I'll try and say that, how much are you willing to invest in this, and try and put the business head on a bit.
and
But yeah, the hourly rate, I can't always work that out because sometimes it seems extortionate. And then sometimes it seems fair. It just depends how it works. And as you say, like, you can come up with an idea in 5 minutes, but then you got to work out how that idea is going to work across all these platforms and how it's actually going to be delivered. So there's it's almost the cherry on top. But yeah, the concept is almost, if the concept's good, that's your, in case your foundation pillars, what you want to say. But
that's where you're earning your dough, is the really good concept that you come up with. But yeah, and there's other things like editorial design. So if they already have a brand in place, and it's basically, you're just kind of there to kind of, 40, 50, 100-page brochure, and you have a brand already set, and you're kind of pricing for that, you can actually, that's a little bit more where like, okay, well, it'll take me like 20 minutes per page, or you can actually kind of go,
that's a good point.
That's a bit more like actual elbow grease, where I can charge that up by like actual time, because it's actually, there is creative in there in terms of like using my experience to lay out the page properly, but you're not actually having to come up with like any massive crazy idea, or like, you're not actually have to come up with whole kind of concepts, so you can charge that by the time. Do you then, when people come back to you and say that's too expensive, do you have a way of handling that? Or, as you're saying there, does it become a bit of a red flag if they're kind of like, if you think you've priced it correctly, and they're coming back and they're saying, no, that's too expensive? How do you handle that then?
Sometimes it depends if I like them. That can be a part. Or I like the project. The project sounds fun. And sometimes, and I've done it before, I'll take a punt. I'll just go, right, look, this sounds fun, this is interesting. I haven't done this sort of thing before. This could be good for me too. I could learn a new skill, or it could be open up a new market. So I have to think about that. And I'm not always, well, I might not always tell them that, but sometimes I will. But that's part of the thought process. But there's also a way of just kind of looking at the breakdown of all the work.
Yeah.
And I've probably put like costs at each of the items, but I know fine well, if I've done a really good brand, and the concept's there, and the kind of, all the pieces of the jig, well, not pieces, but all the groundwork's there, then it shouldn't take long to mock up or do a label or a different, say if it's a package, they want a range, and then to add to that range would cost this, but it doesn't cost half as much time as it would to come up from scratch. So there's a bit of that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just try not to undersell myself, but there is a point where you just got to go, well, and there's certain parts I try not to change, like the research and development part, that'll be under like this amount, and I'll just say, like, I can't hack into that. That just needs done. But what we can do, I like to do 3 concepts. Let's do 2, or let's do 1. But I know if I'm doing 1, I'm really doing 10 in the background, and I'm only pitching 1 sort of thing. And I'll kind of say, well, listen, I'm going to pitch 1, but if I come up with a kind of a blinding second one or something, or I think it's got potential, I will show it. I will pitch it to you, but you'll be lucky, sort of thing. That's, but it mostly kind of works out like that. And I'm able to take parts away and then go, well, let's do that like this. Let's not worry about all these sort of branded items yet, or let's take the website off, or let's take this, whatever it might be. Or if it's packaging, let's not do a gift box, because if they've got a small budget, the production budget's going to be small as well. So I kind of have to think about that as well. You have
to rein in your ideas in that front as well.
I mean, it's not easy, is it? Like, you kind of, it is a bit of a dark art, but I kind of go by my gut. I just think, and I kind of also go, well, I need so much per month roughly to survive, keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So it needs to cover that. If it's going to take me a month, if it's going to take me 2 months, and that's sort of sometimes how I'll work it out. And I'll know that that'll just fill in the the bank books until the next project and that sort of thing. And there's a few where I've taken a punt and they've gone great, and there's some that I've taken a punt and then they've sort of scrapped the project, and that's frustrating because you've kind of done it for half price anyway, and it's never going to happen. And so that's happened a couple of times. But it's just you do get a bit of a cut for that, and the red flag thing as well. I think there's some people you just know, you give them a quote and that's it. You never hear from them ever again. And there must be a bit of people going around getting 3 or 4 quotes, and then going to another person with an actual price in their head.
Yeah. So
But
so
I don't
yeah,
know.
there you have it, folks. Neither of us have a clue how to price.
Yeah,
I
that's
think the pricing thing, it strikes me as it's one of the most popular subjects in terms of like graduates and even other designers want to know, but it's the least satisfactory answer because everybody
yeah, I'm afraid
sort of
so.
has a different system about it. And everybody, as you said there, you have to trust your gut a little bit, which is very not very helpful when you actually have to when
No,
people want some sort of like magic equation for these things. I think one of the things you're kind of touching on there is that if you kind of get a good price that you're happy with and you enjoy the project, sometimes like I like that when I'm doing a project and I'm not necessarily clocking the hours or whatever. And if there's a few extra requests come in, fine, because it's like, or if that way, if I price to show like, two concepts, but there's this really cracking kind of other thing I'm kind of got going on, then I'll show
yeah,
that. I'll show that as well. Like if be in that comfortable place where like, I can just kind of like, the bills are paid. They're paying me a good price. I'm going to give them like, the best value. I'm going to really kind of like go for this. And I think if you can kind of get that price rate at the start, that kind of allows you to sort of like settle into a nice kind of trusting and creative space with the client. I think that's the art of it, really.
yeah. I see. Yeah, if you feel comfortable and you can trust the client, you feel okay. Yeah, as you
Uh-huh.
say, that I think that's a happy place, and in that happy place, you're going to create quite good stuff, or at
Mm-hmm.
least enjoy the process.
Enjoy the
And
process. Yeah.
yeah, and it's quite satisfying if you can bring out a second or a third sort of concept, and that's the one that blows them away because you kind of it's like the left field idea that just kind of came to you later on, and that's happened a couple of times. You can just show off this new one, and you run at it. And
Yeah.
yeah, as you're right, but I don't know. I don't have an exact clue. I think maybe bigger when I've worked for bigger agencies, they've got a whole department
Uh-huh.
almost sort of set out, and they know what you cost per hour, and they know what the building costs per hour, and they've got it all
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Down to the
And
pennies.
yeah, and I think there's obviously a bit more of a formula with that sort of stuff, but I guess freelancing or solo designing like we do, yeah, you just got to kind of feel it out a bit.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, no, absolutely, and also just to be one of the tips is just to keep raising your rates every year. Don't forget to like
Yeah,
keep bumping up your rates because like yeah, just one of the practical tips is the fact that like for every year served, to give yourself a raise constantly.
yeah, like it.
Yeah. So cool. I'll let you go. That was all absolutely brilliant, man. As I said, I'm a big fan of your work, and it was good to chat to you. And yeah, what projects are you working on that you're excited about? Can you tell us about anything?
Yeah, I've got one that's it's like Swedish candy. They don't have a name yet, which is a bit
Oh
annoying,
well.
but they're getting into it. We've got a list of names. Yeah, what's Swedish candy? I don't know. It's like a it's kind of it's like a bit of a thing in Sweden where they only eat sweets on a Sunday or Saturday and Sunday, and
All
there's
right.
kind of
Okay.
quite natural flavors and this stuff. But it's like jelly sweets, like kind of what we call them, kind of.
Hmm. Is this business
But
based in Sweden, or is it like a company launching Swedish
no, it's,
candy
it's
in the
actually
UK?
it's American.
American.
Sort
Okay.
of. Yeah, sort of in Washington
Amazing.
area, and so I think they're going to do like a big pick a mix kind of thing, and also like gift boxes and these sort of things. But yeah, so I'm sort of just getting into it. It's kind of a Gen Z sort of brand, but I don't think they want it too hipster. There's a
Uh-huh.
kind of hopefully we're going this sort of traditional kind of folky kind of route, but trying to
Yeah.
make it not so full on or too kind of over illustrated. So I think it could be kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it
Um,
sounds great, man. And I think
yeah,
as we've seen, I've full faith you're going to hit the brief. Um,
hopefully. Well, it's fine. I bought lots of sweets, so I've been
yeah,
munching them
well,
all week.
great, good news
We got
for
to,
good news for your design sensibilities, bad news for your dental
yeah,
work. Yeah.
yeah. I feel that.
So yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man. Thanks for spending the time with me. So you're at We Are MyCreative is your studio address, and your Instagram at We Are MyCreative. Is it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I wanted MyCreative, but I don't think someone's got that. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, no worries, man. But yeah, I'll put links to all your stuff in the podcast, etc., etc. But yeah, thanks for joining me. And
oh no, it's been awesome. It's quite. I've not done many, if any, podcasts.